So for a little more on this report and indeed the state of world trade, I'm joined now by Pascal, Lamy, Director General of the World Trade Organization, from their offices in Geneva. Thank you so much for speaking to us. And I actually wanted to start by asking you about Japan. Of course, nearly a month ago now, the country had its worst earthquake on record. Now reports coming to us of yet another quake, 7.4 in magnitude, hitting the northeast of the country. Is this something that you would be concerned about?
Well, of course, we're all concerned by tragedies of this kind. Which hit the Japanese population, and we can only feel sorry and really worried about this. But in macroeconomic terms, our own calculations, and we've done that for the previous earthquake and the previous tsunami before the one of today, show that given the size of the Japanese economy, macroeconomic consequences should be limited.
We're talking about a 6.5% growth this year in commerce global commerce after 14.5% expansion in 2010. That's a pretty remarkable turnaround, isn't it?
Yes, it's a sort of return to normal. We had a big drop in 2009. We had a big surge in 2010, and we now are back to pre-crisis course. Which, of course, as you rightly said, Maryam, is much more dynamic for developing countries than it is for the developed part of the world. And the reason why we are back to normal is simple. The World Trade System has remained open during the crisis. This big sort of worry we all had that protectionism would accompany the amount of catastrophes we've had since 2008 just didn't happen. And the World Trade Organization has played its role of insurance policy against protectionism.
Inflation a concern for you, though?
Of course, inflation is a concern because notably higher prices on things like food or energy hit the poorest part of the population of this planet, which is a big problem for developing poor countries. So whatever we can do, and we're trying to do a lot of that to help them growing their trade, help them inserting in the world economy, food prices, energy prices are negative developments short term for most of these populations. Of course, in agriculture, it's also an opportunity to raise supply, and notably in continents like Africa, which, as you know, have a big food production potential.
So from what you're saying, you don't expect rising commodity prices, energy prices, agricultural prices to be a long-term trend?
Well, it all depends, Maryam, on the reaction of supply. I mean, we know why demand in the next decades is going to keep growing. And the main reason for that is what we call the nutritional transition. As countries, people become less poor, which is good news, their diet changes, and the mix of what you have to produce changes. So basically, there has to be a higher production of proteins overall. Now, whether supply will adjust or not is the main question. If supply adjusts, then prices should keep rising moderately. If supply does not adjust, then we will have big hikes in prices, hence the formidable importance of investment, of fixing a number of problems in order to increase agricultural productions, and of course, keep trade open and open more trade so that where there is plenty of food can go to places where there is scarcity of food.
How much are high oil prices hurting global trade?
Well, again, it's a complex question, but overall, an increase in the prices of energy has a depressing impact on economies, hence of trade, not least with the cost of transport, although 90% of world trade is shipped by sea. But I'm personally of the view that, notably for environmental reasons, the price of energy will keep growing as through various devices, the externalities, the environment externalities of too much of an energy consumption are factored in by market prices.
Pascal Lamy, Director General of the World Trade Organization, thank you so much for your time.